They'll be calling me royalty.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gents, to our season 11 of IRC. We're, of course, here for our fourth round here in China. And, of course, it's a wonderful day to go racing. We're here with Tier-1 today. And, of course, I'm also joined by Deepakraj, who will be joining us soon enough as well. But yeah, it's definitely a good race to start with. And China, one of our, I wouldn't say historical, but definitely one of our tracks that we used to see more consistently on the past calendars. It's lovely to see it back again. And again, this race, this track has given us a lot of good races during F1 2020 Spiel and some amazing moves, that I can remember of. But of course, we'll definitely come to that in a second or two. We'll first go towards track map. So let's go towards that. Of course, this sector is quite simple. There are 16 corners in total with two DRS zones, one at the starting straight and one at the back straight. And of course, with those DRS sectors are accompanied by a long straight, so that definitely help people with overtaking. And yeah, that is the track map. So of course, coming to this track entirely, I think this track is definitely one of those tracks, especially one of those helmet Tilka tracks that definitely have some key aspects of it that are unique. Of course, turn one is extremely unique, where you have cars that can go three wide or easily two wide and sort of fight for positions. And it is tricky set of corners, so you have to be very careful when you're going for moves there. And of course, with the turn one, we'll definitely see a lot coming out from that point of view. But then coming towards the middle sector, of course, it's a challenging middle sector. You have to stay close to your, your cars, and of course, those few turns that come up towards the end of sector two, excuse me, will create a lot of, let's say, wheel-to-wheel action for some of our drivers. And yeah, we're definitely waiting for our drivers to start quali, and once quali's up, we'll go in further. But coming towards, let's say, China itself, I think one of my fondest memory of China was in recent days, 2019. I think 2019 definitely China had a very good race. I think we were seeing a lot of people sort of challenging for positions, going for overtakes. I think uh, one of the good overall performance at that time, I think, was Alex Albon's, who really surprised everyone in that Toro Rosso during those times. And again, it was one of those days where Toro Rosso actually existed, and not this new V car model that they brought here. But yeah, definitely a good track to race at, and we'll love to see what our drivers can do. And again, like looking at these cars, I think they definitely have enough, let's say, racing uh, racing adjustability, racing credibility to definitely give us some good moves, especially down towards the last few corners and down towards the back straight. I think let's say, a lot of people will hesitate before they go for an early move towards the back straight, because the back straight is so long that you could even, if you have enough ERS, you could dump it to even challenge it for another move down towards the last few corners. So you have to be very careful towards the back straight as well. And we're just waiting for quali to start. So I think the lobby might still be working up. Okay, it's up. So just need a second. Perfect. Yeah, so again, we have our qualifying ready, and of course, lovely to see that it's a full grid. I mean, it's always a pleasure to have full grid, and especially that it's wet as hell. It's amazing, and I think it's wet enough for inters, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Yes, it is inters. So inters condition, it looks like it might even get worse towards wet. So we'll see what happens. But I think if I was one of the drivers out there, I think I'd like to go out as quickly as possible to get in some laps before this weather could get more, let's say, dangerous. And we definitely see Faizan, the first of those cars out there going towards turns, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, moving towards the second sector right now. Again, this is a tricky part of the sector because this corner, especially this next corner or the next set of corners, it's always easier to sort of understeer or basically lose your braking points or your traction in those corners, especially now that it's wet. We'll definitely see that a lot. And again, you just have to keep your car stable throughout these corners, focusing your throttle a little bit. And the fact that the track is continuously flowing also makes your, let's say, your inputs a little difficult to measure itself. There's no hard braking points at certain stages. It's always, essentially the track going from one corner to another. Well, as we talk about heartbreaking points, I think we're about to come towards our second heartbreaking point of this circuit. Of course, this is the turn where we'll see a lot more action, a lot more moves sent up, a lot more dive bombs sent out. I think definitely when you think about dive bombs, you're thinking about this corner itself. As we see Faizan complete lap, sorry, not complete an out lap essentially. But yeah, Faizan definitely okay. There's an Alpine that's got off board as well. Must have some issue, or the tires must have been a little too cold to make a difference. But Faizan definitely trying his best to put up a lap as quickly as possible. Again, the nature of the track is very, very difficult to manage at this stage because things are getting, let's say, difficult in terms of controlling the traction of the car itself. As you can see, he is being careful with his throttle inputs, so he has to make sure that he's not overshooting the car, especially not in this stage, so that he can essentially cause a retirement. But yeah, he is going extremely slow, definitely being very careful on his first few stints. I wonder if the rain is still going to continue because we would love to see maybe a soft stint at the end of it. But again, I think we'll take what we can get at this stage, and it does look like it's gonna pour toward the end of this session. So we'll see what happens towards the end of this quali session. We still have 30 minutes to go for, and there are still cars out there on a lap. Again, Faizan's lap will set up a benchmark for all these drivers, but I think when we're looking at qualifiers, we'll be looking towards Helium. Motomoto, if he's here today, yep, he is. And SSJ Assassin, again, our quali merchant.
So
So
hey,
again, Faizan rounds it.
I
Mhm.
am back here. So thank you for carrying it all the while, and it must have been quite a long speech for you to keep this going on. But as you see, Fire, I just put up the first valid time of the day, and yeah, as you might have noticed, it's inters conditions. So definitely one of this. I mean, this track already is quite treacherous and it's very traction sensitive. As you see, the drivers tiptoeing their way around through this corner, which is already very traction sensitive, which is going to be made even worse by this inters condition. So yeah, whoever's going to get the traction right is going to be getting the most out of this track today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think China being such a, let's say, I would say it's a tire, I guess it is a sort of a tire heavy track, wouldn't you say? The corners can be a little challenging, especially that high speed corners.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, like I said, most of these corners they demand you to be on the edge or even go beyond the limit at times. Like you might have to send the car a little bit sideways to get the turns. Like the turns 9 and 10 in sector two, you basically have to kick the car into a slight slide and go through, which means that you're going to be putting the rear tire through a lot of punishment. So yeah, it is tire heavy. It's not wrong to say that.
And well, we're on board right now towards Mr. Reddy here, who's in the Ferrari, who almost loses it. Again, like you mentioned, those viewers, they have to be loose. And I think these conditions are definitely catching these drivers up. That was very close for the Ferrari drivers, as he almost was about to make contact with the pit wall, but had to save it at the end of it.
That was a good
I
save
mean,
indeed, and that is something that's quite common in that final corner. You can see the drivers trying to push it to the limit, and three possibilities there. Either you get the line absolutely right, you hook it up, and you go for the perfect line. Great. Second is you spin out on the curbs and you go into the wall. Worse. Third is you invalidate the track limits and you invalidate your lap and the next lap as well, which is not so great, but I would take that over crashing into the wall. So yeah.
true. I mean, I think when I was looking at the start of the start of the quali, I felt like the rain was pouring heavier. It looks like it does look like it's sort of calming down a little right now, but again, we're not sure whether it's gonna calm down any further or it's gonna rain even more because we could see it going from inters to wets, which should essentially destroy qualifying. But but again, that's the name of the game, especially when it's qualifying in the wet. As we see Dark Knight so round up the final corners. Is he on a quali lap? I don't think so. He's about to start one right now, as he's is approaching turn one as well as giving that Alfa Romeo a really good what to say toe there. But the Alfa Romeo is very quick. You could see it. It's almost like he's ready to overtake Dark Knight. So I don't think Dark Knight's pace is relatively good. As I don't think he's pushing as well. Is Dark Knight pushing? I
Well, he
don't.
does seem to be on a hot lap. He just finished this hot lap, but he seems to be on another hot lap, which is quite common in conditions like this. You
Mhm.
can schedule for multiple laps keep going on. So if he was on a hot lap, he's not obliged to move over. It's the car responsibility of the car behind to manage it.
Yeah, I think he wasn't on a hot lap, but he could see the pace between the pace difference between the Alfa Romeo and that Williams. It was quite large. I think if the Alfa Romeo didn't have the Williams in front, he would have blew past that first sector with a good lap time as well.
Yeah, could be. If that's the case of blocking, then it's one for the stewards to analyze. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean that is quite common if you think about it in turns one and two. The very nature of that corner, it makes it tough to get out of the way because the outside line suddenly turns to the inside line, and it's quite tricky for some drivers to get out of the way and leave a clean line for the hot lappers. So could be some of those smooth incidents we could see, but I just hope the drivers are careful enough to leave enough gaps to
Hmm.
get their laps on. And I see your onboard former pro player Dipanshu, who is, like I said, who is on a multiple hot lap stint, has done two laps so far,
Hmm.
two hot laps. I don't know how many laps he's gonna go move for, but yeah, we'll have to see. You're on with Helium right now, who is in P4 currently.
P4.
Had an
I mean, what
unfortunate.
I'm speaking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, what I was asking, Deepak, is we do have a contender that I don't recognize in the top three. The Mercedes seat in P2, Wicked Wiki. Have you ever seen him before, Rachel?
Wicked Wiki, no, this is the first time I'm seeing him. Red, of course, we have seen him, but Wicked Wiki, no, that's the first time for me.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually a very decent time compared to Arathia's 142.3, I believe. So I'm actually surprised, and it looks like that guy is clearly on pace, especially with Red as well, who was a really good contender in last week's Silverstone. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, definitely. I mean, he did put up a good show, and unfortunately, a few instances was down a few positions, but still, he managed to do a good result out of that. So, yeah, really is putting on the show right now. And as you were saying, Helium had a very unfortunate disconnection last time around, and he just had to leave the race
Mm-hmm.
from a very strong position. So, he'll definitely be looking to claw back some of the points that he would have lost in this series. And talking about points, just had a look at the points table, and we have Moto and King James right at the top with equal number of points, 65 points. So, yeah, those two guys are really on to put a fight right now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that just shows how close the championship was. Unfortunately, because Helium disconnected, of course, it took him out of the race. But the championship is close in that standpoint. That again, Moto had a really good Silverstone. I think King James before that had a good. Which one was before Silverstone? I believe it was
It was Australia.
Australia. Yeah, King James had a good run in Australia. So definitely the championship is close in that aspect. But we do see Helium go the fastest this time. It's 122, 142.2. So that is definitely let's say an ideal standpoint for these cars right now. We have been let's see cars fighting in the 142 upper mids of the 122 to 544 here. Especially, I think Helium still has a little bit more in the tank, so I think we might see more for him. The still 6 minutes out, so we still have a lot of more competitors here. Again, the McLarens are looking in a good spot as well. P5 and P6 not bad for the duo itself. Um,
Yep, I mean the McLaren team here seems to be mirroring the performance of the McLaren in the real world. Not, I mean, as I say, Moto just puts in the fastest lap of the day with a 42.2. So yeah, as I was saying, the team seems to be putting on like a good performance every now and then, but it just seems to be getting unlucky here and there, getting caught up in a few incidents or anything of the sort. But without that, they do have a comfortable and a strong team pairing that is capable of scoring a lot of points every weekend.
yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think if they find a little bit more consistency in the performances, they'll definitely be on the top of the on the top of the standings.
Yeah. We're on board SSJ Assassin, who is known to grind these tracks non-stop and put out those hot laps. He seems to be on a slight back foot right now. Of course, the wet weather not really helping him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be improving on the stamps a lot. But as you can see, it's quite tight up top. The top 10, it's like 42-2 and 42-7, just 5-10 splitting the top 10. So definitely it's a very tight quali, and there's a lot more time still to go. And of course, we don't know what the weather is, whether the inter is going on. And we see Destroyer Drac once again punching the previous lap time with a 41.9, and Lean Super goes even quicker, goes slightly quicker to the 42.1. So yeah, I have a feeling the track is definitely drying up, and the lap times are going to get faster and faster with each minute you're going go for.
Yeah, sorry, I have to agree with you on that. I think the track is sort of, I would say it's trying, but there is a line sort of forming right now, a line where these guys can definitely exploit for a little bit more of a risk against that reward. And I think it's not, if there's time for risk, it's now basically because again, Moto and Destroyer Track, sorry, Destroyer Track and Lead Saber, both are in the top, basically on the top two, and essentially Helium and Moto will see that, and well, essentially they want to go faster because they want to work off the momentum that they have gained in the last few races to continue and sort of fight for that championship.
Yeah, Destroyer Drac has been scoring some really good points in the last few rounds, and Lean Superwell, of course, I haven't seen him a lot on the top. And you see SSJ Assassin going much quicker, the 41.3, smashing that provisional pole time. So yeah, that was an interesting lap, which means that there's a lot more time on the table, and we see some
Hmm.
drivers already switching to the softs, which could be an interesting call because we're still
Oh yeah,
seeing the track,
definitely.
which is slightly, I would say, damp. But it'll be quite interesting to see how the track dries up because this game it can progress really quickly. All it will take is just 1 minute, and the track will be suddenly so dry. So yeah, whoever times is right is gonna get pulled for sure.
I mean, especially if it's if it is soft conditions. I mean, we are seeing a half of the drivers in the pits right now, so I wonder if they're all going for softs now. I think they are. I think people are now taking a risk on those softs. I think the track is not ready for it, but probably by the 1 minute point, the track will dry up, and at that point, it will be too late for you to switch to softs. So I think everyone would be coming out on softs. Let's see what Motomoto is doing.
I mean, if it is about to
Oh,
like
damn, it
that,
is.
if it is like that, then I would say the bottom half who has nothing to lose will definitely take gamble on that and be like, why not go on the softs? But if I'm the top 10 again, I'll be very apprehensive about the slick choice because I mean it's the track by the appearance of it still doesn't look ready for slicks. But again, the game can work in mysterious ways.
Yeah, definitely. I think this definitely does put a spanner in the works for everyone else. It's a headache for these drivers, but we'll see what they have to offer. I think a lot of drivers still feel like yeah, you can see the car is not ready for those soft tires. I'm sorry, Dark Knight, but yeah, the car is drifting around those corners. It doesn't have enough grip unless we can get some warm up in here. But I think it'll be too risky to even try to warm up those tires by weaving.
I mean, you can still see the spray being thrown off the car's tires, so
Let's see.
definitely it's not. It doesn't look fully ready for slicks yet.
Oh, yeah, it's not ready. Definitely it is. And you just saw how his car lost his rear end easily. Like it was just like a racing on. ice basically, and that is the case for these soft runners. They're just racing on ice at this stage. Maybe they could do another lap. That might that might change stuff, but I don't think this is the lap they're looking for. Maybe next lap is something they're looking for. Again, the only thing these guys have is hope right now, and they just have to hope that they don't crash. And completing a lap around China in 1:32 is impossible on the soft though. No, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough ask. I see King James going much quicker with a
Hmm.
41-0, so the lap times are continuing to tumble down as they go on. King James once again putting in a strong quality performance. He still has time for one hot lap if he has fuel in it, so he can definitely do one more. But let's see if anyone else is about to challenge him for the pole position.
Can we see where Moto is? Because I think he's about to cross the line to start his this thing, or is no,
He's
he's in the
going to
first
sector
sector.
2.
Sector two. And he did go go the fastest in sector one, at least as per the map and the telemetry. But he's taking a lot of grass in that corner. I don't know why. Maybe it is a good exploit, but yeah, we'll see. Depending on the lap times itself, I think it'll be Moto and then Helium they'll cross, and SSH Assassin of course retiring. Um, yeah, definitely it's between I believe Moto now and Helium. I think we might see a surprise here and there, but if you're looking for someone to challenge that pole time, it definitely be one of these two drivers. As Moto definitely trying to make his way down towards the last few corners, trying to maximize as much as he can out of each and every corner itself. It's definitely a good choice to stay out on the inters right now, because I think it's in the perfect conditions for inters at this stage of the race. And we're waiting for Moto to cross the line. Extreme goes with a 141.09, currently fast to the provisional pole, but let's see what Moto does as he crosses the line in P1. At the moment, it's 143.55. That is actually a good time. And let's see what Helium can do. Again, Helium also looking very quick, but Extreme disqualified. Okay. Interesting. King James again in P2 as well, bringing a lap time between the 140, so the times are definitely dropping. Why don't you cover the last few seconds of it while we here, Deepak?
Yep, definitely. And Moto just smashed it out of the park with a 40.3. Let's see who else is up for the challenge here. Let's see Moto team is simply rounding up to the final corner. Let's see what kind of a position he can make up to. And he goes
Oh,
fastest with
wow.
39.8. Wow, that is
Wow.
some hell of a lap. So the McLaren was
Yeah.
really putting on a very, very strong showing today. And they have no more pro player going into P4
Mm-hmm.
and Satik Reddy in P5. So SSG is getting pushed down further and further. And as you notice, Extreme has been disqualified and his lap time has
Wait,
been deleted, so
Helium.
he's all the way down. And Helium goes
Helium is in
P2, the
P2.
40.1, and Red is in P3. The times are really tumbling right now. And yeah, it's getting very crowded up there, and SJ is getting pushed down the order. He was in P2 and now he's in P9. So that just speaks volumes about the track evolution and the importance of timing your runs there.
Wow, Wicked Vicky in P2 as well. 140 or 27. Wow, this is wow, the quali session is over and we have SimplyYT on pole. I never imagined I'd say that in tier one, but that was one hell of a lap from Simply out of nowhere, pushing those tires to get a 139, 853. Wow, that is an excellent job from Simply there.
Yeah, I mean, this quali really livened up in the last 30 seconds. I mean, so many laps this came to before they could even say that someone else is having a provisional pole. Someone else just comes in and snatches it away. So that was quite nice to see. And yeah, great lap from Simply. I mean, he's brought that lap out of nowhere. And who we thought Moto did a brilliant job, but he's pushed on to P7. So
Yeah.
wow, that's quite an improvement from the others.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's actually a very good quality by the end of it. And now you see those, a leader board, and the only person that's consistent over there is Helium. The rest of the two drivers are practically new towards that front row. Actually, the front row is quite new. So we definitely love to see what happens in the race. And oh wow, look
Ooh,
at this rain, and it's heavy. I
this
think
is
it's
not
completely
good.
wet here,
This is not
especially
good.
in turn one.
Yep, this turn one is particularly treacherous because it's a very fast turn that just keeps turning and turning. It's like the turn almost never ends. It just keeps sharpening up. So which means that if you're the guy on the outside, Well, it's a good place to be, but if a car on the inside is going to be having some trouble, then good luck to you because he's gonna be wiping you out directly from that outside line. So yeah, it's gonna be a treacherous tournament for sure.
Let's see who's the torpedo this race now. A throwback to 2016, I guess. I think 2015 or 2016. I definitely know Vettel had a lot of issues with Kvyat back in those days. But yeah, again, it looks very, very, very treacherous at this stage. And again, the fact that Simply and Vicky are in the front row and Helium's on starting on the second row, I wonder if that's gonna, I wonder if, what's gonna happen essentially at the restart because it's gonna be a very, very important restart, especially for Helium, as he's going to go side by side with Simply, and we know Simply doesn't give up positions easily. So we'll see how much Simply fights for it. We'll see how much he tries to defend his pole position and his front row start. Of course, I think Simply wants P1 at this stage, and he will do everything to keep it like that.
I mean, of course, everyone is racing here today. All the 20, of course, have hopes of getting P1. They all want that P1. It's a very coveted spot. So obviously, everyone's going to fight and give all of that they could to do whatever they can to get that position. So obviously, yes, there's going to be a lot of fighting. There's going to be a lot of chaos. But at the end of the day, it's whoever's going to be staying clear of all those is going to be taking it off. So let's wait and see.
And we are waiting for the five lights to start this Grand Prix. And I believe it is lights out and away we go as we see Simply getting a bit of a slow start, but he's of course making sure he's. The Mercedes definitely gets P1 easily at this stage. He's got an amazing start. So is the Haas, who's in P3. But we see the Aston Martin creeping in on the inside as we see a lot of changes here. Aradhi Gupta gets P3, Helium stuck in P4, and the Haas gets pushed off. There's contact between the Haas and the other drivers of destroyed track, and we see the Mercedes almost losing it there, but Simply's now got a good run on him. Will he go for a move on the inside of this final corner? Nope. And he's defending against Aradhi Gupta, who is looking for a move on the outside. It's a lot of chaos for the first few laps and first few turns.
Yeah, the top 10 seems to have somewhat settled up a little bit now, but in the middle of all that chaos and all that spray, we did not see that there was an incident in the middle, and there was someone who had just went all the way down. So, wonder who that was. I'm not really sure. I think that's the car of Ritesh, because I did see a Ferrari getting whacked in that middle of the chaos and getting pushed out. So that's unfortunate, but it has been a relatively clean start. Few positions swapped here and there, but it's been relatively clean. You've seen much worse here. And you see Williams of Helium making a move on lean super into that very, very hard braking zone. And now it leads on to a race of traction where whoever gets the better traction gets the better run onto that very, very long back straight, which means that you're going to get more overtaking opportunities. As you can see from that shot, it's just raining heavy. And man, if it was
Mhm.
actually FA, they will be like stopping this race for now
Yeah,
because the
it'll
visibility
be
is
red
that
flag.
bad.
Yeah, no, it will be red flagged easily. Like, I mean, it looks good from our position, but essentially in real life, those drivers' point of view it will be completely covered. As we see, I believe that was the Ferrari going for a move on the AlphaTauri, but again, oh, we see Aradhya Gupta going for a move on SimplyYT. He gets P2 down, and the last turn, that was a beautiful move from Aradhya Gupta. As Vicky is currently the fastest on track, of course, in P1. Definitely showing a lot of raw pace. I love this guy. I think he's doing a good job, if it is indeed a guy. But yeah, definitely the Mercedes is looking in a very good, strong, dominant position, especially in this part as we see the other Mercedes almost get tagged by the driver behind. I'm not sure if he lost it or if he got tagged, but it looks like he got tagged. As we see the Ferrari fighting with the AlphaTauri as well back towards. There's a lot of fight going on as we see Akash Sanwane fighting against Reddy, who is looking competitive, but Akash Sanwane could go for a move around the inside. He decides to go on the outside, brakes heavy around the outside. Will he get the traction in? Will the Ferrari keep it? The Ferrari keeps it ahead. I think he broke way too late there. As we're on board Ajax in that Alpine, again, it's Alpine versus Red Bull. Where have we seen this before? I don't think ever. Especially not in this new generation of 2024 cars, as Alpine is completely washed. But it looks like Ajax is definitely feeling the pace as he's fighting against King James and Faizan, sort of catching them off. And it looks like that Alpine is very quick in the straights. As we see Propi almost lose well his braking points a little and almost go back into the back of rear wheel of the car as we see Reddy go for a move on the inside. That is a marvelous move, and we see the Alpine almost struggle drifting off. towards the side. It's getting crazier and crazier in these last few seconds as there's a card spinning around and Akash Sonamane, I think he must have had some contact. Akash was looking very competitive as we see Aradhya Gupta make a move for P1 down towards the last few corners and ready. Sorry, Vicky has no answer for that move. It was a dive through the second last corner, and Aradhya Gupta gets fastest lap as well. That's definitely a very quick lap from Aradhya, 149. As we see Dark Knight and Mohan fight for those remaining positions, P16, P17. I think Dark Knight's got a little bit more, little bit more pace, but he's definitely going to try to get something out of this. As we see Moto in P5, again Moto is doing a dough, and as I say that he's almost losing the car. The conditions are very treacherous, and it's not looking easy for any of these guys here. As we see Moto go for a lunge, a late break at this stage, down on the inside, pushing the Haas on the out towards the out of the track, essentially leaving himself exposed to the drivers behind. As we see Red also going to move on Lean Snipper. Lean Snipper not happy with that, and he'll be looking to get some, let's say, some racing action on Moto again, as we see Moto defend that P5 desperately. As we see Ajax versus Dark Knight again, it's the battle between the Alpine and the Williams, both fighting out of it, corners to corners, the side by side. Again, Ajax has the inside line, but Dark Knight not ready to give it up. He's definitely got more traction on this side. As we see them still fighting, and the Ferrari behind him of Ritesh, I believe, eyeing for a move but can't make it. As we still see them, and the Alpine is off the track. He's completely out of the track, lost some traction. I think he also hit the Williams there, so Ajax would not be happy. As we see Lean Snipper against Destroyer track, they're wheel to wheel going towards second last corner again. Oh my god, almost the Alfa Romeo goes into. There's a lot of action, to be honest, boys. The
Yeah,
Destroyer
I
track
mean,
almost
this
goes
race
into
is
red.
this race is definitely being very lively. A lot of moves, a lot of chaos, a lot of action going on in the lead being formed. I mean, I just had to step out for one moment and I come back and it's like the order shuffled up all the way around. So definitely, it's quite lively right now. As you can see, uh, like we got like a four-car train that is just trying to figure themselves out and sort into the positions, but it seems to be like a never-ending battle right now with the cars all just running close together and each trying to figure out the best traction zones to put it down, because as you can see right now the track is still in the full wet conditions, which means that the traction is still going to be tough. Whoever gets it right is gonna get it through, but someone is definitely gonna slip up for sure. As we just saw earlier with battle between Dark Knight and Ajax. Ajax just had a bit of a moment where he had to get too eager on the throttle and he just went out of that battle. So drivers got to be wary of that.
Yeah, interestingly, we still see the top four being close to each other, so that's there. But Aradhya definitely has P1 at this stage. He overtook, of course, Vicky in the last few laps, and it was a lovely move down towards the well, the back straight essentially. He definitely dive bombed there, and that was how Aradhya got P1, and currently he's maintaining P1 with 1.3 seconds. He's actually leaving Vicky in the dust at this stage, but it's not over until the the checkered flag is waved, and essentially there could be a safety car that could throw his entire race into the works here. Again, I'm not sure how we don't have a safety car or any retirement yet, considering how treacherous the situation is. But I guess that speaks, as we see Helium go for a move on Red, and he's getting closer to even Aradhya. I feel like I think Helium's got more pace at this stage of the race, and he can, with some, let's say, relative clean air, I think Helium can definitely catch up to Aradhya, and it can also lead to Simply and Red catching, sorry, Simply and Vicky catching up to Aradhya as well.
Yeah, Healy is definitely got the pace to do that, and he seems to be trying to do his best to go out. And in the back, we just saw a car is going off on the penultimate corner, and King James is now
Oh,
attempting to move on Red on the outside. Red is just doing enough to shut that door, just leaving him
yeah.
enough space to tempt him, but not enough for him to make a move. Wisely, King James also back to that, but he's still hanging on, still looking for some gaps. He'll definitely be looking out for more opportunities to pass the Mercedes.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's also sort of in these conditions. The name of the game is patience. Sometimes you just have to show patience, and the good thing is King James did show patience. It just shows the caliber of driver he is, that he knows when to go for a move and when not to. Because again, it's smart defending from Red. He's is being on the edge, but it's it's sort of within the rules itself, so it's good defending and again King James making that sensible decision there.
Yep, we just saw a sector to yellow. I think there was a horse that was spun out. Not really sure, but there seems to be like a two different bunches forming up right now. And you see a Ferrari of wait, was that a Ferrari or
I think that was it was Sathwik on extreme, I believe.
yeah, that was a sneaky,
Ye-
sneaky move through that turns 9 and 10. That's not very expect a lot of moves happening, but he just sensed an opportunity and he went for a move. So Satvik moves up to P12 with that. And yeah, up ahead there's another train. Like I can see like three groups right now just roaming on the track. And oh, that did not end well. That was Ritesh and Faizan coming to blows there. Faizan, it looked like Faizan was going for a gap that was closing in, but again we just caught on the tail end of the traction, so we cannot really say who was at fault. But that did not end well for both of them, costing them some precious lap times there. You remember Dipanshu, no more pro players, seems to be still struggling a little bit. It took the curves, which you're not supposed to do on the full wets. It really throws you out. And yeah, seems to be coming out of a slightly sketchy race start, dropping on 2 positions from where he had started, but still seems to be doing good. Uh, Still, there's a lot of laps to go, a lot of time to go for him to try and get back some positions on through here. And yeah, it looks like the pack is sort of settled right now.
Yeah,
Because
definitely it is settled, and it looks like it's the conditions sort of are. Well, do you think is it still raining at the moment? Do you see it's still
it
raining?
is,
I
it
think
is,
it's still raining, right?
it is still
Yeah.
raining. It's not looking to be letting up. Again, we don't know the weather predictions. The drivers do know, but we don't know yet. So we are in the blind on this. So let's see what kind of weather it's up today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we are looking for a good race. Hopefully, once the rain stops, the inters sort of come out, and you know exactly what happens when those inters come out. I think. Oh wait, we have. Sorry, I thought I saw the Alfa Romeo stop for a second there. I think it was a glitch on my screen, but I almost saw that car stopping. I was like, wait, did someone retire? Okay. But as I was saying, we also saw, what Silverstone had. I think Silverstone started completely wet and then went to inters, right? Something along those lines. But I remember there being a changing conditions race, and it definitely put everything in the spanner for these guys when it comes to strategy, especially when the safety cars come out. As we see, Satwik ready currently in that Ferrari and Extreme. I guess everyone is sort of close, but not close enough to make moves. Everyone's sort of in that distance zone of being in a, well, not in a DRS, train, but sort of in that standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, this track is also particularly known for its difficult ERS regeneration. It doesn't give you a lot of ERS because of the back straight, which consumes a lot of ERS just in the medium state. So that is also one of the reasons why we're not seeing a lot of moves happening. And we see Extreme going for a pit stop, probably a wing change, I assume, because we did see his car don't have a wing. And we see a retirement of Ritesh. I think that's in the penultimate corner, is it? Nope, it's. Oh wait, someone has actually crashed into the pit lane.
Wait, safety car.
We did see a wheel crashed on into the pit lane entry. So someone has definitely bought their pit entry and have brought up the safety car.
Wait, is that Lewis Hamilton 2007? I think so.
Well, that was
Maybe that's a
getting beached to the
callback.
gravel, but this is going straight up into the wall. As you can see, a wheel just standing there, and Ajax almost going into the wall there. But yeah, that was the pit entry seems to be catching these guys off guard a little bit.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely see a replay of that after the race when everyone starts discussing the point of view. Why is the Sauber always going this slow, man? The Sauber's catching me off guard. It's, uh, he's going. I think he must have exceeded his delta, but uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that could be it. But essentially, the Sauber's definitely called. Trying to call me out. Who is this Extreme? I'll definitely speak with Extreme after this race and say, bro. You're catching me out, but no, no, man. It looks like it's going to be a frenzy at this stage. Sandeep Maridu is one of the few who's gone on the Inter, so we'll see how good he does.
Yeah, we're
But
just about to point that out. He seems to be the one who's taking the gamble right now of Winters. Let's see if it's going to be a gamble or if it's the right choice because, again,
oh, he's
we don't
going
have
very
a full
slow.
picture of the situation right now. The drivers who are right now racing, they know better what's going on, what's the weather slots that they're
What is
expecting.
happening?
Well, the Delta seems to be kind of catching the drivers off cars, so they've got to be careful. to not exceed it, because as you know, if you exceed the delta, the penalties are quite severe. So gotta be careful. And I see
Oh,
Aradhya and Helium staying out, so does Simply. So these guys don't think that there's a tire change required or there's a change in weather pattern. So they seem to be continuing on. And we see another car going to the play, I think it was Destroyer Drac. He chooses to pit. Will he be going for a fresher of bets or enters? We'll have to see. So does King James, Lean Super. So yeah, a split over here. Some people thinking that pitting now is a good choice. Some people thinking, nah, just stay out. So which is going to be the better call? I don't know. But I'm
you
very
said,
interested to see who's going to be taking the better call of this.
sorry, Deepak, you said you saw some car like crashing in the pit lane, right? I see the Ferrari retire. I think that might have a connection with that.
No, I mean it was
But
quite interesting because in the far edge of the camera we did see a car near the curves, and when the car was going into the pit lane, we saw a wheel and some carbon fiber close to the pit wall, which was very weird for me to see. Again, I don't know what's going on, but we can only assume.
yeah, you can definitely assume, especially with this game, you have to assume at time from time to time because anything can happen. And Ritesh has left this race. Of course, he's retired, so there's no reason for him to stay. But there are still some people who are, of course, if you're at the back, you might as well even give it a shot and try to, deal with being on the inters. I mean, if even if the weather is getting, let's say, slowly a little better, which I don't think it is. It doesn't look like so. But even if it is gonna get better towards, let's say, like 2 or 3 laps afterwards, then it's might as well, you just stay out there, deal with the inters being, completely shit for 2 laps, and then sort of, rejoice in the fact that you don't have to pit anymore.
Well, I mean, the safety car is definitely going to be out for one more lap by the looks of it. So I think these guys are betting on the fact that the weather is definitely going to reduce a little bit and come into the inters condition. So let's see if their bets are going to be paying the dividends or not. Because right now you're seeing a split choice. Like some guys in the lead pack are thinking that now we don't need a pit stop, but drivers like King James, who are part of the lead pack, clearly thinking that they need to be on inters right now and trying to make use of this safety car window. So if it pays off, it is going to pay off very well for King James. But let's see, there's still a lot of time to go for that.
Yeah, definitely. There's still a lot more of for time to, make decisions, time to actually, make some calls, and it depends on who makes the right call at the right time. But again, everyone, these guys know these conditions way better than we do. So, it's either a 100 IQ move or completely off the charts.
Yeah, and I see another car that's going into the pit lane right now. I think that is the car of Extreme. Probably a wing damage or something of that sort. But I don't know why he's going for such a late pit stop. Maybe he's realizing now it's better to switch to Inters, which was the case. I'm not really sure. Yep, that seems to be a switch for
Hmm.
Inters. So yeah, I mean clearly some of the drivers feeling that Inters are much better right now.
I will definitely see if that's true or not as soon as the lights go out and sort of we start going green and start racing. We'll definitely see who made the right decision and who didn't.
That right now the good thing for the lead drivers is that even if they're on the wrong tires, they've got like 8 cars behind them who is going to be fighting hard with their lives to keep those inter runners behind, if the inters are quicker, that is. So they will be having some time to rectify the mistake and get back at it. But yeah, like I said, this kind of crossovers, it's always tricky to navigate. You always have doubts in the back of your head that they're right or not. And even let's say you're
Mm-hmm.
right, like if you're on the faster tire and you have a slower wet tire up ahead, it still means nothing if you can't navigate your way through safely through there, because through some of these zones where you're gonna have to be sticking to a single file, having a faster tire might not be a very great choice, because you might just go straight into the back of the other car and damage your wings, which is not very ideal.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have to agree with you on that. I have to be very careful right now, especially the guys with the inters. If the inters are quick, they have to be very careful overtaking these other drivers because everyone's gonna defend like hell, and they're gonna try their best to sort of keep you behind, and you just have to be careful in those conditions to be or to overtake as safely as you can.
Think we might be having another lap of safety car because one of the cars have not caught up yet. This will be music to the ears of the guys who are running inters, because this
Inters.
gives more time for the weather to calm down and for the inters to kick in. So that's really great for them. And you see some more cars going into the pit lane. I think that's Helium and Moto deciding that this is now time to cut the losses. So yeah, clearly this is looking like it's gonna be going for enters all around.
Yeah, definitely it is. It looks like everyone is sort of in that situation where they're gonna now go for inters. I think it's because of the safety car as well. They didn't expect the safety car to stay out this long. And since the safety car has, they just decided it's better to take it now rather than deal with the 30-second pit stop later.
That is true. Like I said, they just seeing the things going south and they're trying to cut the losses. So kind of understandable if you were to ask me. And McLaren going with a split strategy, simply staying out and Moto going for the pits. So that's great.
Uh, that is a smart move, but whenever the team makes that decision, I just think the team is really just saying one thing: either we're half right, we're basically half right and half wrong. We're compelling
Yeah.
one driver to be screwed and then one driver to actually succeed. So it's not the best strategy, but it's one to at least try for when in these
At least make
uncertain
sure one of
situations.
your drivers are gonna get something out of it.
Yeah, true. Especially,
Let's
I think
see. Let's see if the safety
Moto
car is gonna go in
Moto.
this lap or not.
Yeah, I think Moto is one of those drivers. Yeah, it is gonna go on in this lap. Hopefully, yes, it is. That's good. My point being that Motor definitely wants to pit, especially to make sure that he can catch up to Helium as quickly as possible. I think Moto knows his main target is Helium right now, especially considering the championship. I mean, King James is a target, and King James is looking. I forgot about this, but King James is looking in a good position right now.
Yep.
He's on these inters. He's in P6. Everyone ahead of him is in those wet conditions. So I think I was wrong about this. Moto should be focused on King James, but I think he's trying to catch up to Helium, sort of trying to make sure Helium does not outwit him in strategy.
Yeah, I mean it's ultimately who makes a better call at the end of the day. But right now, by the looks
Hmm.
of things, I'm still not sure if it's going to be good for renters because still the rain is pouring down. But I mean, we're all going to get our answers very shortly when the safety car
Yeah.
restart is getting underway. As you see, Satik is getting a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. That's unfortunate. And we see Aradia who's gunning it right now, and he's going to the pit lane, which means that simply is the leader right now, and he is off. So he is through, and behind we have King James already moving up past the wet tire runner. So definitely King James having a good restart here. Up ahead, Mohan and Destroyer Drag going toe to toe with each other through turn one. And oh wait, that's interesting.
No, that
Mohan's car
I
was
think that's
disconnected.
a yeah disconnected car definitely. But King James, looking at the pace of the car, I think Inters is the right tire to be on. Look at that grip he's got compared to the other drivers. He's definitely taking those corners easier rather than those wet tire contenders. And I think we're gonna see a move by is that Wicked? Yeah, Wicked on Simply. Again, it's the same battle that we saw at the start of the race. Simply versus Wicked, Wicked versus Simply. Who's gonna get most out of it? I think it's gonna be King James.
Oh, it's an absolute melee in the back. Cars is going sideways all over the place. Inter runners scrambling to get the best out of the tires, and the wet runners are getting hustled out of the way. So yeah, it's getting quite scrappy up ahead. And King James, like I said, he's very close behind that battle of Destroyer, Track, and Wiki. So again, these guys have got to play their cards right because they've got a faster tire, yes, but they've got to be very careful about how they're going to handle that advantage.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if I was, let's say, the top three, I'd be trying to help each other to essentially, make sure that King James. Well, it's not really a big challenge, but I think that's difficult considering King James is on the right tire. But Destroyer Drag goes for a move on Wicked Vicky. I did not see that one coming, but definitely he got a better traction out of the corner and has left Wicked Vicky in the dust. But you see, King James also looking for a move there on the inside. Will he break late? No, he's being a little careful there. I think it's fair to be careful. He's got the pace. He just needs to make sure he's safe enough to cross the line when he
Yep.
crosses the line in P1.
And I see there was
Oh.
another driver going to the pit lane. That was simply he's going to the pit lane now, and he's going for a tire switch. And King James just moves past Vicky, who made a mistake in that final corner, just going slightly over, and that did not help his cause. And you just see Sandeep Marido has set the fastest lap of the session, which clearly proves that the Inters are the tires to be in right now.
Hmm. I mean, the more laps these guys stay out on, especially Destroyer Track and Wicked Wiki, the more they're killing their strategy. I think what they're waiting for is I know what they're waiting for. It's a safety car, but uh, I think these drivers have been clean enough to. Well, okay, as I was saying that we almost saw the Aston Martin go inside another car itself, but I think they have to pit right now. They can't stay out any further.
Yeah, the wet tires need to make a pit stop right now. But yeah, we see the King James and Destroyer Drag still going side by side through Sector 2, a very tricky place to be side by side. It's quite easy to understand outright, but King James clinically makes a move and takes a lead. Kudos for Destroyer Drag as well, leaving space because that's quite a tough corner to do that. It's very easy to understeer wide if you just keep your throttle pin. So good racing from them, and we have a new race leader right now.
Yeah, we do. King James is looking in a good position, especially for that race win and that championship lead as well. And coming towards one thing I want to talk about. Oh, wow, wait.
Three
We
wide
saw
through that
something.
fail corner. That's not somewhere you expect to go three wide, but
Yeah,
that did not look good.
yeah, I almost lost my train of thought as soon as I saw that. I was like, that does not look right.
And
But
we
wait,
see
there's a lot of.
Red Bull stranded. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Faizan.
Faizan.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's not King James, luckily. It's a good Red Bull driver.
Yeah, the three wide on the snail corner does not go well, and it did claim a victim there. And you see VK finally coming to senses and going into the pit lane for change to enters. Meanwhile, Destroyer Drac still hanging on to his dear life outside in P2. I don't know how long he's going to be able to put through with this, but definitely the control point is here, and he needs
Uh,
to make that
uh,
switch.
mhm. Yeah, I also want to give a shout out to Nomo Propi, who's in P3 right now, who's got to do the heavy work of defending against Helium, who's right on his rear diffuser. So I think he's definitely got his work cut out. But let's see what Propi can pull up here. If he can defend, he'll be able to retain that podium position.
Yep, definitely. And you see Red and Ajax going side by side. Red pulling a move around the outside of the corner, and absolutely brilliant stuff. But Ajax is standing firm and using that overtake button to stand firm. And yeah, the move is looking to be done. But wow, that was really close to disaster.
Yeah, definitely. I think again, this track allows people to go side by side, but actually going side by side with someone, takes a lot of, race skill and trust as well, because you have to make sure the other guy doesn't take you out. And these drivers are definitely, let's say they are still trusting the other car to make space, and it is working out for them, especially in these lovely overtakes. As we see one right now by Simply, who is going on the outside. Oh, this going close. It's between Faizan and Simply. Faizan leaves no space. He closes the door forcefully on Simply, but Simply is not taking any of it. He's waiting for that extra traction coming out of the corner. And we have no more Pro P and Simply right now again on the hunt for P15. Again, had that very wrong call with tire strategy, but now on the hunt for anything he can get his hand on. But looks like he's slow in the straights. Is he giving up?
Well, he's not using his ERS as much as Python. Python seems to be dumping as much as he could to
Oh,
get the advantage, which might backfire
nice.
big time because his ERS reserves are running low. Meanwhile, Simply he seems to be doing really good in terms of the ERS reserves. So, as you can see, he just breezes past him like he's not even there. So, yeah, that's the importance of ERS management right there.
I kind of have to comment simply on something like he is definitely racing very well out there. I think he has got a lot of good pace, which is surprising, but it's actually good to see simply giving out a good performance. Yeah, I think it went wrong for him in terms of strategy, but in terms of race pace, he was up there in the front with the others as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely he is up there, and still a lot of time for him to get back up because we did see no pro player who was stuck down in the bottom of the midfield is now running in P3, so P4. My bad. So anything could go, anything could happen in the coming laps. So he definitely just got to keep put his head down and do the laps without any mistakes, and he could definitely have another chance to come back up.
And Moto is now kind of hunting for that P4 as we see Moto almost touching the rear diffuser of that car, looking for a move, almost ready for any pounce and a mistake from Nomo Propi. Again, these corners are where someone could make a mistake. Again, it's easier to lose your car in the first few corners, but sorry, is that the first few corners? No, that's the last few corners towards sector 3.
Yeah, Moto is shaping up on a move on the inside, and it was a bit of a tentative move, but he does send it, and he manages to push the Pancho out of the way and gets that P4. It did look like the punch was slightly making a right move, but still that was still within rules and everything. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Moto gains a place, and he moves on
Mm-hmm.
up to P4.
Yeah, and I think he's also looking to challenge for P3 because Sandeep Marido is very close as well. Again, these drivers are very close, and it's only Helium that's sort of, flying in this distance. And as I'm mentioning, flying in the distance, it's also simply Whitey with the fastest lap, but King James as well are ahead with a 4 second gap, which is looking good for the driver.
Yeah, definitely. Simply once again showing that he's got the pace right now. He just needs to punch in those laps again and again and close the gap up to the field. He definitely have his time. And I see Moto is right on the hunt with Sandeep Mardu. Sandeep is making a few mistakes here and there, going a little too wide. And Moto is hustling him through that corner. You would not want to be making a move through here, but he's definitely on his diffuser, trying to force the other driver into a mistake, which could work. But again, you've got to be careful about forcing a driver to mistake because you don't want him spinning into your car as well. So gotta be careful here.
Yeah, definitely careful. Yes, gutsy. Yes, as well. I think it's all about balance, to be honest. In racing, you have to go for the moves as well as make sure you're not crashing after the move.
Yep, exactly. That's the whole point of racing. I mean, what's the point of overtaking if you're just gonna crash somewhere else? So yeah.
I now realize how stupid that sounds, but okay. We see the Alpha Tauri again. Sandeep Baruto, always that kind of driver that's in there, in at least the top field. Even though he might not have enough pace, but he's sort of consistent that we see him sort of always be surrounded with those top drivers in the first three positions, as we see Dark Knight in the Williams again standing in for Sir Tanish today. Definitely doing a good job by staying in the top nine.
Yeah, he's having a decent race.
Sorry. Okay, that's great to hear. As Dark Knight gets promoted up to, a permanent seat, which is good to know. Williams looking good at this stage. Helium in P2 and Dark Knight in P10. I think the top three definitely the top three teams, the Red Bull, Williams, and you know, okay, as we see, Dark Knight, of course, defending against Aradhya Gupta, and Aradhya Gupta goes on the outside, a beautiful move, something that took a lot of risk, but now Aradhya is sort of, left, hunting the driver in front, which is SSJ Assassin, sort of coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, that move
SSJ,
sort
who
of looked like he was gonna make one SSG as well in the same corner. It did look like he was having a run of that sorts. I can see a yellow flag, and I think that's not sure who was that spun around, but yeah, that was a yellow flag momentarily in sector two.
I think it could be Faizan to be honest, because he did lose a lot of seconds. As we see, Wicked Wiki, it went from all good to all bad in a span of few laps for this driver. He had so much pace, but then again, it's just sometimes it's about luck as well and making the right calls at the right time. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to come from this Mercedes driver today, as Red is up in P6,
Yeah, I
making a
mean, the
move.
Mercedes driver of Red seems to be doing really good once again. He was kind of down with that quali order, but he seems to be doing his level best to make up the positions in the race. And we see Aradia had gone past SSJ. It could be team order, could be just pace. Either way, he is up there, and he's now hot on the tails of Satvik Reddy, who is also seemed to be a little bit struggling. But yeah, I mean, this is one to watch out for.
Yeah, it is. When that safety car came out, I think it was about about people making decisions and people who are in the front, as you said, would like to retain their position. They're not going to make that decision easily, and I think that's what cost it at the end of it. But again, Wicked Wiki trying to go for a move on the outside of the corner, side by side through Faizan, and gets the move done. Beautiful move by Wicked Wiki, and Akash Raman also gets the move done as Faizan spins around.
Yeah, there was some wheel banging on the way into turn one. Wonder what would have happened after that, probably a contact. And we see another move by Lean Super and SimplyYT going through side by side, and they're still not resolved yet. They're gonna go to the fast left-hander side by side. This is not where you want to be side by side through. And Simply stands firm and gets a position on Lean Super. That's
Yes.
some committed racing.
Yeah, Simply is on a mission right now, bro. He just brought up for 4 seconds in like in 2-3 laps. He's definitely on it right now. He's hunting that Aston Martin of SHA Assassin. I think he wants that position right now. And again, it's looking for like a strong weekend for Simply White there today.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, his quali performance did show that he had the pace and everything. Just a bit of a bad strategic call put him in this place, but he seems to be trying to make up for this. And I see Red. right behind no more pro player, trying to get a move, but very careful with the ERS management, just forcing Dipanshu into a defensive move. Going around the outside, but Dipanshu will definitely have courtesy extreme sliding into the corner. The brakes definitely not helping him, just going sideways into it, which is definitely going to light up Sathik Reddy's eyes, seeing the car sliding up ahead, which means it just literally screams free position for Sathik Reddy.
Yeah, when I see a slide like that, it obviously reminds me of the old days where, as we are talking about, Red goes for a move on the inside of No More Pro P, and definitely another gutsy move. I love those moves in turns 1 and 2, because these moves can be made from anywhere, like on the outside, inside. There's no perfect racing line towards these corners. As we see Red now eyeing for a move on Sandeep Maradu, Red again getting this late race pace to actually challenge for the best of the rest position. At least something that's P4 is on the lines or on his hands right
We
now.
have a
As we
safety
see
car out right
safety
now.
car. Wow,
Really
why
sure
did this
who
happen?
crashed out.
I wonder if it's Faizan? No,
There's just a car
there's no
heading into the
retirement.
pit lane. There's no retirements.
Oh, it's Faizan. He must
It's
have lost a wing.
Bison's car going on, but still a safety car for that. That's bizarre.
I mean, if it's the FIA in these conditions, maybe. Uh, but I don't know. I think that's the only solution I could. That's the only reason I can think of, because um, I don't see any retirements on track, to be honest. Oh, what's happening there?
Yeah, Vicky and Destroyer track just going at it. Count on boys here and full course yellow. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's there's not the time to overtake, especially not at this time. But yeah, I mean, essentially, wow, it's the deltas, boys. Just maintain the deltas normally, bro. Why do you have to rush through everything? I don't like the fact that people rush through deltas, because then you have to stop so haphazardly that you might even crash into someone at that point. So I think it's like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I mean, just a delta management, like you said, some people having slightly high deltas and lower deltas, that does not always end up well. And I see King James is going into the pit lane, so definitely thinking
Wow,
that
is he gonna go on? No, it's not softs. It has to be
definitely
inters.
not solved. He's just gonna go for another fresh inter so that you could stretch
Yeah.
out till the next phase of the stops.
Can we see? Let's go on board the
Oh,
Red Bull
no, yes,
P3.
it almost
Wait,
goes into
King
the
James just
wall.
got overtaken in the pits. Wait, what? Oh,
Uh,
wait, give
uh,
me a sec. No,
no,
it's
no,
not.
no.
It's just the
It's
pit
just
board.
Helium's pit box was ahead of King James pit box,
Yeah.
so momentarily it did look like that. But
Oh my
oh,
God. Vicky gets a drive-through penalty. Okay, I just reacted like that because I thought it's King James. But that's again Delta, boys. Just maintain it properly. It's not that hard.
well, yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a tricky thing to maintain a delta because sometimes it just suddenly shoots down, which is why you see the driver just suddenly coming to a stop. It is a bit tricky to maintain, but yeah, I mean, you should always be on the safer side and be a bit positive so that you could account for the sudden drops, which
Wait,
unfortunately
I
did not
just
happen in case of Wiki. And Akash Navane is feeling
sorry.
brave today. He's going on
Wait,
to slicks.
that's good, but I also want to point out something. Destroyer Drax stayed out and is in P5 right now. So he
Oh,
went from
that
P15 to P5. That is actually not a good call, not a bad call. He's still on
yeah,
5 lap old inters, which is good enough, bro. Like
yeah. I mean, it's not bad
somehow
at
it
all.
worked. Somehow it worked for him. I
Yeah,
wonder
five
why
laps.
Vicky
It's not bad
Vicky
at all.
didn't think of it.
Well, maybe I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe he thought that pitting was the right call, and he didn't want a tire offset. But I mean, 5 laps. It's still it isn't a lot, but
doable.
it still has some performance drop for that. But
Yeah,
I mean, if you
especially
have
since that safety car is gonna be out
yeah,
till 20 laps at least. So there's 8 laps on those tires. I don't think that's impossible.
it is definitely possible. But of course, there's going to be a little performance offset, which could have been running in the mind of Wiki before going into that pit stop. And you see Akash Nani and Mohan feeling very brave today. They have gone on to the softs, but they ain't not yet stopped. So yeah, that's very interesting decision right there.
See, here's what I don't think this is gonna happen, but in case if Akash Sarwane puts in a fast lap, I think we're gonna see a lot of people split up. 8 laps is still a lot, especially when soft tires are in their prime. But I just I don't think it's the time. I think we were saying this in the last safety car as well with the Inters, but we saw some signs of the Inters working out there as well. I don't think there's enough signs. Look at that spray. There's no way the Slicks can survive
I
on
mean,
this.
the rain
Can we
hasn't even
actually?
stopped yet, so we cannot even
Uh,
say that there is a chance for Slicks to kick in. So,
can we
yeah.
see? Can we go on board like Akash or anyone? So like, I want to see how he tackles this corner. How slow is he going? Yeah, look at that. Look
Oh,
at
yeah.
that.
That isn't working, lad.
It just spit right now, Akash. Don't commit to it.
The he is committing to it by the look
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, well, at this moment,
And
he feels
Mohan
like he's
here.
got nothing to lose, so he's gonna hang it out. But yeah, I do think this is a bit of a bad call.
Mohan is going to be the first driver to be lapped by the safety car. It's just so slow. I'm so sorry, but that car is just not. The Haas is effectively slow, anyways. But with those soft stick, this looks like it's working on snail pace, especially in those corners.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
it's
we're going to
all.
have possibly going to have a 7 lap or a 6 lap shootout by the look of things. So yeah, it's going to be
Mhm.
a sprint to the end.
Well, we have the safety car. What do you think of the race, Deepak?
Well, I mean, wet races are always interesting. Throws up uh, a lot of options, a lot of interesting racing lines and stuff like that. Because you don't have the DRS, which means that you're gonna have to rely more on your traction skills to improve on it. So, I mean, wait, was that a piece of carbon fiber
Yes, yes,
flying around? I think
yes.
someone just collided. That is not something that you want to be doing every now and then. Uh, so yeah, someone is going to be running with less downforce in that pack, and that's not good.
Yeah, I saw it as well, and I was like, I'm gonna refer to this after you complete your this thing. But yeah, I saw an unpaid go out. Someone's lost an unpaid there.
Yeah, and as you were saying about this race, like wet races often throw a lot of it puts a lot of like they say in the real life racing as well, wet rain is a great equalizer. It really puts a lot of emphasis on the driver's skills, and that's what we're seeing right now. People are able to manage the traction and make the right strategic calls. That's all that matters. And you see King James is right now in the lead. And he'll be taking us through this restart, which is going to be
I
next
saw
lap
it.
because one of the Haas is not yet caught up. So the safety car will be out on one more lap.
Hmm. Unless the safety car decides to just go in right now, which is insane, but could happen.
Well, it can't do right now because it's going to start finish straight. But yeah, and if you destroy a
Okay,
track,
wait.
is now
Destroyer
heading
track is
into the
going
pit
in.
lane.
He's going for
Interesting.
softs. It has
I
to
think
go
could
for softs.
be.
There's no
I
way.
think could be a wing change because could be his wings
Oh, it could be
was the
his
one that
wings.
was lost. But let's
Let's
see.
see. It doesn't look like it's a wing change.
Oh, it's a
He's going for
slick.
softs.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, that's an interesting call again. I mean, I'm not really sure we are seeing the same things on the driver's screen, but yeah, I mean, some drivers clearly feeling. Wait, Faisan's going on to the mediums. Forget softs. He's feeling extra brave today. Wow, I'm not really sure what's going on right now.
That is too funny, Simon. I love that.
Oh, and Ajax has retired from the session under safety car. I think the slicks. Y- yeah, looks like Ajax has spun out of turn two. So I mean, definitely slicks are not working, but these drivers are taking a gamble on that.
Yeah, no. Slicks are not working. It's the mediums that are working. Trust me. Faisal got 100 IQ on this one. Bro, Faisal, what are you even doing, my lad? Like, I know your race is destroyed, but this is not the way to do it. The mediums, bro, the mediums. It's wet out there. I can't. I can't.
I mean, I'm not really sure at this point whether we are seeing the same thing because there are a few cases where the track looks wet but slicks perform well. So I'm not really sure if that's the case because we see like 5 drivers who had made the switch to the slicks, and I see Simply
I
is
mean,
going down a lot, and it's almost coming down to a halt over here. Uh, what's going on here? I'm
what
not
is
really sure.
happening? Okay. My point being, like, okay, fair enough. We might be seeing something else, but there are still 14 drivers seeing what we are seeing, and they
Exactly. I
decided to
mean,
opt out.
I'm not really sure right now at this point.
I'm all for it if the softs are quick, but my God, will that be a race to watch if the softs are quick? Because then everyone's gonna go into the pits, and then everything's gonna change as well. I'm in for it if it's there, but I don't think it is.
I mean, looking at the track conditions, it doesn't look like slicks anymore. Although the rain looks like it has stopped, so maybe slicks in the last 5 laps. I'm not really sure. But right now we are in lap 21, and we're on board King James, who is taking us through the restart, and he has already punched it. He is going to the restart. He's going to the final corner. Helium seems to have got a decent launch along with him, but the guys behind him were very tightly bunched up, and Aradhya, Extreme, those guys are very, very close to each other. So the restart has been a bit of a mixed affair in the midfield. And you see Aradhya is trying to pull a move round outside of Sandeep Merida, which is now turning into the inside line for turn two. Will he be able to hang on to it? Yes, he does. Some brave racing here. Sandeep Merida leaving just enough space for Aradhya to make that move. So yeah, really good car control. And you see the Extreme also barging his way through on Sandeep Merida. So Sandeep losing 2 positions on the restart there.
Also, I want to report that the slicks are not the right tires. You can see 6 seconds as a gap now. It's not working out for them. They've completely lost all the pace that they were hoping to gain from that tire, but it's not
Well,
working.
I mean,
Oh,
the only hope that they have right now is that somehow the track just evolves into slick conditions the next 3 or 4 laps, because as you can see, the rain
yeah,
has stopped. So
yeah.
they have a
But
chance, but now the question is, will that pit stop time be offset? Because right now these
yeah,
tires are still
exactly.
working well, and they are going to be running into the distance.
My point is, by the time those tires come on, they'll be 30 seconds behind, and by that point, everyone else will just pit for new tires. I think that's what we're gonna see, but it's just unfortunate because they're clearly like 11 seconds slower than everyone else, like in just one lap. That's just insane. And I think by like 2 or 3 laps on these tires, when the slicks actually are good, everything's gonna. I mean, it's just not gonna be enough time for them to overtake other people.
Definitely, and you see some positions being swapped up ahead. Lean Zipper and Dark Knight going at it through the back straight. We just saw some interesting weaving in the back straight, and they are still fighting it over. And you see
Helium.
putting in the fast lap, and so does Aradhya Gupta. You see Wicket Vicky, he is rolling into the pit lane.
Yeah,
Not
he's
really sure
serving his
what kind of
drive-through.
call he's going for. Oh yeah, he does have
Drive-through,
penalty
yeah.
on his name. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And you see
Simply
Simply
again making
making a
moves.
move, and we see some carbon fiber flying around. There was someone who got wrecked over there.
Williams,
I think that's no more pro player.
I think that was Dark Knight as far as I saw. I thought the Williams spun around a little. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a blue card being spun around and some carbon fiber
Hmm.
flying around, so I'm not really sure who that was. And we see Wiki serving his DT and is coming out in P15. And you see Motomoto is hot on the heels of King James, and we missed this lead change. Helium had taken over the lead from King James, so Motomoto is now hot on the tails. So it does look like a hot battle for P2 right now.
Definitely, it is a hot battle for P2, and hopefully that extends to P1 as well later. But we do see Williams looking in a very good position, especially Helium in that car looks, let's say, dominant as he always is. But Motomoto definitely going for a move on. Sorry,
Oh, well, that's
Simply is
Simply.
going for a move. Sorry, getting a little confused because both McLarens are looking aggressive today. I think they're looking in good form. But yeah, Simply going for a trying to go for a move on Extreme. Motomoto is close now for a move on King James, but I think he's had to pull out a little there. Sounds wrong. As we see him dive on the inside, he's there side by side. Is he going to leave enough space for King James to come around the corner? I think he is. He's definitely not got enough traction. As we see them going side by side, and I think King James has still defended that position well. And yeah, but they're still kind of going still side by side as we see them approach on one again. Moto braving out on the outside, but then King James sort of going out a little wide.
Oh
There's
no!
contact between the drivers. There's heavy contact, and King James is spun around. That looks like it's gonna be another penalty coming for Moto as that just ruins King James' race completely.
That was very
And Aradhya.
unfortunate. That was really, really unfortunate the way Motomoto's car is going out. That really
Hmm.
did look like it was going to go into and cause an impact. So that is going to be definitely reviewed by the stewards. But King James is going to be disappointed by that. He's running in a very, very strong contention up until that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's definitely not very happy about being shafted off, but it is what it is, and unfortunately, you just have to keep your head down and now and fight for the remaining positions you can get. It's just sad, but we see Faizan on those mediums again. Mediums looking to be one of the best tires here, if it was dry. Uh, but yeah, I mean Akash, they're struggling, man. Let's just not go there. Let's leave them out of it.
And
It's
SSD
hard to
Assassin
look at
has
it now.
also decided that softs are good, and he has gone to soft tires, which I'm not really sure why he went for that. Uh, mm, but yeah, I mean, he's clearly just sliding it into the corners. They're not really helping him his cause. I see Dark Knight on the back of Lean Super, just using his ERS deployment to get the most acceleration out of that corner. And this does look like a done deal right now with the ERS reserves that Dark Knight has had. He's already side by side and is going around the outside in the braking zone. It's still a very feasible move to be done. And well, Lean Super does well enough to block that line there, just blocking that switchback, and he holds on to the position for one more corner now.
Pass, I think. Maybe Mohan, but someone had a yellow flag in sector one. I'm not sure, but again, Aradhya Gupta going for a move on Moto Moto. I did not see this one coming, but Aradhya doing a late, well, let's say late fight for at least P2 at this stage, but they're still closer to Helium, but Helium is still far away. As we see them fighting side by side, it's contact between the drivers. There's some wheel barging elbows out for these two drivers. As we see Aradhya going with the outside, Moto defending the inside line. Moto pushes Aradhya towards them. They're still fighting through. There's heavy contact still, and this is the part where you don't want contact at all, as Moto Moto has to give up that position.
That was some really aggressive wheel banking racing going on there. Absolute brilliant racing. Moto wisely backing out of that one. And we see Satvik Reddy once again going down the inside of Dark Knight. Dark Knight will have to back out of this one if he wants to live for another day, because that is not where you want to be side by side. And we see the Haas of Lean Super right behind on this picture, who just got overtaken by these two guys and will be eager to get back on them.
Yeah, definitely. I think Faizan retires. Fair enough. A
Oh, we
safety
have a
car.
safety car this late in the race. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, I think we might have safety car for like 1 or 2 laps, because we
One
definitely
lap
don't get
at
safety
least.
car this late in the race. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
interesting.
think if someone makes a decision to pit, it'd be the worst decision to pit right now. I think those inters are still quick enough to make it through, and I just have to trust on those inters.
Yeah, I mean, even if the crossover point does come, I'm not really sure if it will be uh,
Worth it.
much bigger of an advantage to set that,
Hmm.
offset that Inter's tire struggle. So it definitely makes sense to stay out right now. But what this does is brings a second chance to the guys who are already made the stop on slicks, and to get back onto this park and maybe finish in a slightly respectable position than what they are right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when I'm looking at again the field right now, it is sort of bunching up, which is good. It gives us, it's gonna make our jobs harder because we're gonna have to commentate even more ferociously because we're seeing someone going into the pits. Is it Wicked
That's
Vicky
Vicky
for
Vicky.
one? Is it really the time to go for softs? People are going for softs though.
Well, they seem to be
I wonder.
doing like, I mean, if nothing is lost, then just go for
Will
it kind of an
change.
attitude, seems like.
Hmm. I mean, fair enough. These are the decisions that make or break your game, and it'll either make it or break it for them. I mean, Destroy Track is losing his car on. It is looking kind of dry. I will say the rain has stopped. Do
I
you
mean,
think it is
I
the time
definitely
to go?
feel like we are approaching the crossover point right now.
But again, your point is still right on the fact that is it worth sort of the gamble? Is it worth that extra pace? Like, I mean, how extra pace is, there in question, but safety car is in this lap, so these drivers have to still catch up like 31 seconds, which is impossible, especially in this six right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I
with
mean, I
only
could
two
be
more
wrong.
laps to go, it's quite impossible to. I mean, I don't. The inters, when they're not working, they are slow, yes, but I don't think they're that slow. Yeah, I think the inters
And
are just gonna be doing well enough to get back
yeah, I think
safe.
they'll do well enough, but I still think maybe Propi's got some pace. I think he might get some positions towards the end of it, maybe a position or two.
And
He's not
just to
gonna.
point it out, sorry to interrupt you there. So
Mhm.
since he got the safety car in this lap message much earlier, Helium has already started backing up the pack, which means that
Right,
these guys have a very good chance to catch up much quicker.
catching up. Yeah,
Yeah, because you could see
I mean,
Helium, he's halfway to the back straight and he's already bunched everyone up, which means that he's gonna
uh,
be taking it till the line.
I think that makes sense for Helium because I think Helium knows he's not in any threat level right now. But that being said, it's still those softs are looking. I think they're looking quick, bro. I'm not sure. At least in Propi's hand, it's looking quick. But Helium's gonna go out pretty soon in a second or two, and we're just waiting for Helium to start. I think he
He has
started it.
started,
Yeah, he
yep.
has. That's a weird start from Helium. Not definitely one of his best starts, but Radha Gupta all over the back of Helium right now, as we see almost 2 laps left to go. Yeah, that's 2 laps, right? Yeah, 2 laps.
Yep.
And Aradhya's all for it right now, and he definitely wants
Oh,
that P1. He's so close to that P1, and he knows that he has to make a move and keep Helium behind. And he's getting eager for that one right now. And we see Aradhya Gupta trying to find different lines which will give him some better traction. But will he go for a move on the inside? I think he is eyeing for one. He's very
oh,
close.
that's the late
Then
sin.
he's left behind. Moto is also creeping in. It's almost 4 cars in that span of a few seconds. Simply YT somehow joining in P4 as well. A comeback race for Simply YT, an insane race for that guy.
Oh, and
But
Helium
oh,
is
this
off.
someone
Helium
going
is
off.
off the track. Helium has gone off the
Simply
track.
in P, Simply is in P2 and Moto is in P1. What is happening? Oh my God, this is insane. It just changed the game completely. There was some heavy contact between Aradhya and Helium. Did you even get a chance to see what happened there?
Not really sure. I mean, all we just saw was that Aradhya and Helium were fighting tooth and nail for that P1, and they were going side by side through turns, which is not a very easy thing to do. And the next thing we see is Helium going through into the gravel trap. So Helium is not going to be
Oh,
happy with that one. And uh, and like
and
you
with
said,
the
Moto
penalty,
and Simply YT taking a P1 and
yeah,
P2. So Simply YT
yeah.
doing a really good job to recover back to the podium places.
Yeah, and compared to Moto having that penalty, I think Simply is in it for the win right now. If he can keep his pace up, which I know he's got pace, so just has to keep his pace up, and he can definitely get that win from Moto today. But yeah, we're seeing a complete spanner thrown in there. Again, this is what the safety car does. It just brings up Motomoto's giving some fast laps, so to be honest, I won't lie there. I won't like to be his Moto's teammate right now, especially when he's putting fastest laps. But I think Motomoto knows he has to, bring a gap right now. He's got a 3 second time penalty, even more later on after the race, depending on what the stewards decide. He's just thinking on putting as as a lap he can, so he can build up some gap to keep his position. But at this stage, it looks like might be Motomoto falling towards P4. Again, it just depends on how quick Sandeep Marudu can be against these other drivers.
Yep, definitely. I
Oh,
mean,
there's
definitely.
yellow flags.
That's
Sorry.
sector one. I think that's not really sure whether it's a Williams or an Alpine, but uh, yeah, someone definitely had a bit of a crash over there and is losing some time. And coming back to your point about the penalty, yes, definitely Moto um is definitely going to be losing the podium by the looks of things, but. Again, Sandeep needs to be keeping much closer tabs right now because as it stands, Sandeep is not going to be getting that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's been a fantastic race for these McLaren boys, but maybe one McLaren boy might have a little trouble today. But we'll see what happens. Again, there's still 3 seconds of a gap. Yeah, good. Yeah, great one. Thank you. Yeah, I think Sandeep Baradu is not gonna keep it up. He's got 4 seconds behind. And I think Motomoto is still gonna retain that podium position for now,
Well,
as we see
Red is
Motomoto.
seriously flirting with that limits right now. He's on the +3, so I think
Yeah.
Moto might have just got
Oh.
it.
And there you have it. Your P1 winner for today, Simply YT and Red in P3, followed by Motomoto in P2, Sandeep Arad in P4, Extreme in P5, King James in P6, Reddy in P7, Lean Snipper in P8, Aradhya Gupta in P9. We still see fighting going on with Wicked Vicky and Helium, as Wicked Vicky is trying to go for a move on the on Helium. It's a drag race till the end, but that's P12 for Helium, unfortunately, and well,
Well,
it's
I want to bring up another interesting point. When we're seeing Moto crossing the line, we just got a message that DRS has been enabled, which means that the slicks are on the window right now.
yeah,
Which kind of
yeah,
makes sense
they're
why Wiki
definitely
was having such a good run on Helium through the final corner, but still
yeah,
it was not enough for him to make that move on. So staying on the intermediates were definitely the right choice through.
yeah, yeah, and wow, such an interesting race, and I think I have to give some credit. I don't give him enough credit, but simply definitely put in a good race. Almost lost it by that strategy call, but then somehow made it work by the end of it. Insane comeback from him.
Yeah, I mean, like they say, the racing gods give it and the racing gods take it. Initially,
Yeah,
it got taken away from him, but then it just came back to him as the race progressed with the strategy and the safety car. So, yeah, really good job from him. He definitely put himself in the position to capitalize on that. So, very well
Yeah,
deserving win. And same for Moto as well. Really did a good job. I mean, of course, yeah, that penalty hanging over his head with that Indian incident is not going to be keeping things easy for him. But still, he can be happy of the performance that has been put in today.
yeah, definitely. And I think we are looking at a good comeback from McLaren as well. I'm not sure what will happen if there's any penalties, but right now McLaren is looking in a very good position in that constructors as well. This has really helped them in that constructors fight, and also sort of helping Moto's fight in the lead as well. King James had a terrible race, so did Helium, and Moto's probably taken the lead in the championship as well.
Yep, that's an interesting point that you brought up. Moto is right now taking the lead in the championship table provisionally, of course. So, uh, yeah, there's a lot of outcomes from this race.
Definitely, and we're just waiting for some of our producers to come in through, and then of course we'll continue with our podium interviews. And yeah, definitely a good race. I think I enjoyed that a lot. I think there was no clear winner. I think a lot of people were fighting for the lead at a lot of points, and it just at the end of the day, it became a matter of keeping I guess your nose clean to get that race win.
Yeah, that is always the case, and today it was an added pressure of strategic calls as well. With some drivers making some really good calls, some drivers making some questionable calls. But at the end of the day, the drivers who made the absolute best calls really came out well on here. And you see, simply in P1, Moto in P2, Red in P3, Sandeep in P4, Extreme in P5, King James in P6, Satvik in P7, Lean Super P8, Aradhya in P9, and Dark Knight in P10, followed by Alpine of Nova Pro Player, Helium, Destroyer, Rak, Wiki, and Akash Sonawani rounding up the points. And then we have SSD Assassin, Mohan, MR9, Faizan. And yeah, that was it for
Definitely.
today's race. Definitely quite an
So
interesting one.
do we have Virat here coming through for the podium interviews? Let's see. See, again, we're just waiting for P3 to join in, and as soon as he's in, we're definitely going to continue with the podium ceremonies. But I think for the time being, as we're waiting for Red, I'll just start with Moto here, if you don't mind, Deepak.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so Moto again, that race, an interesting race, won't you say? Again, you had some issues with qualifying. You got beat off in qualifying by the end of it. Again, that qualifying session was not an easy one, to be honest. And by the end of it, it did put a spanner into everyone's hopes. And coming from that qualifying, coming again, seeing a lot of action in P7, I think you must have seen a lot of action at the start of the race. Could you could go take us through as your race and just how it felt fighting through that pack.
Yeah, very eventful race, but yeah, qualifying. Uh, well, I think whoever had the last lap in the session probably was the best bet for Paul. Granted, my lap I think was one of the first laps of the last few laps which were put in. So theoretically, I had the worst track. But still, it was a great lap by Simply, like absolutely mad lap by him. So he got pole deservedly. Um, so yeah, qualifying was I mean done and dusted P7. I knew I had to be careful in the start. Into turn one, so the race start, yeah, full wets, and then in the setup area, I think I sacrificed a bit of straight line for more rear downforce. Uh, because China is very unforgiving. If you get a bit too throttle, you're happy out of any corner. So Uh, yeah, into turn one, I think I was three wide with someone, and I think I chipped off my wing. So the entire wet stint was
Hmm.
with a semi-broken wing, and for that reason, I found myself in no man's land. Like I was quicker than a few drivers, but like not quick enough to catch the people ahead because just chronic can't just stay everywhere. Then yeah, safety car came in, and the first safety car which came in, I think King James made the perfect call. He pitted for Inters, and whereas I think most of the grid did not realize that it was going to dry up very quickly, and he pitted on the moment it came out. I think so. That's why he was P1 by quite a margin after the first one. So yeah, I pitted in the second lap of safety car, took that to repair my wing, and then yeah, I just did my race through them. A few more safety cars, had some nice overtakes here and there. And then the last one, yeah, me and King James are battling, and then yeah, I did sort of go for a very risky move, and I spun him round. So yeah, that's going to be a clear-cut penalty for me, which I will very happily take. But yeah, overall a very good race, very fun driving in the wet. Good overtakes here and there as well. Good stuff, and hopefully the stream got a bit of that action as well because there were some nice overtakes around the grid.
Yeah, we did get a lot of action, to be honest. It was too much to handle, to be honest. At one point, there's so many overtakes going on, especially up and down towards the grid. But yeah, definitely a good race from you, Moto. Of course, that incident will throw a spanner in there, but compared to all the other championship leaders, Helium, King James, and all, I think you've definitely made the most of this race, and congratulations on at least P2 for the time being.
Yeah,
And we'll
thanks.
move. Deepak, any questions for Moto?
No, I mean, Moto gave a very good comprehensive debrief of his race. So yeah, I mean, that was a good performance and a good race. So yeah, congratulations on that.
Okay, and I think we have red right now. Deepak, could you continue with red at the moment? See, for P3?
Yeah, yep, sure. Yep. Hello, Red. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Just disappointed.
Well, I mean, still a P3 is still a good result, but yeah, just talk us through your race. I mean, you're kind of in and out of that top position, so just talk us through your race.
It was really difficult, man. I had no grip on the wet, but in the inters, I had some pace, and I almost got taken out by someone in the straight. Like on the straight, someone tapped me and almost went into the wall. I think he went out as well. So I don't know how I got the P3, but a really difficult race. I should have gotten that P2 though. Stupid game, man.
Well, some days it is like that. And yeah, definitely strategy calls did not really, I mean, help a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, still P3 is definitely not a really bad result to take at the end of three, considering it was a very, very chaotic race with all, mixed up strategy calls. So, I mean, I would still be happy if I was you.
Yeah, just it's a good race, man.
Yeah.
Better than last time at least.
All right, all right. So yeah, congratulations on that podium, and yeah, really looking forward to see more from you.
Thanks, man.
Congrats on that P2 red. And we'll move on to, of course, our P1 for the day. And again, the man on pole after multiple fights towards the back of the grid, the front of the grid, everywhere in the grid itself. We have Simply in P1, again, a special race for Simply. I think he definitely had the pace today. And Simply, how did it feel getting pole, getting that win, and that entire race?
I mean, getting the pole, I was initially happy, and then I wasn't because the last time I got a pole, I remembered what a bad race I had. I think that was season 7 in Australia. I had a horror show of a race, and that essentially meant that even though I got pole, that race I didn't win. Over here as well, uh, off of the start losing 2 positions, I did think that okay, yeah, I'm done for. And then obviously there was a point where I think Wicked Vicky was slowing me down quite a bit. Eventually I did get past him, but then obviously after that that messed up strategy did not help me at all, to be honest. I mean, that was the most demoralizing thing, I'll be honest. uh, I don't know what to say, to be honest, because I don't know how I made it up. But yeah, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle in the final safety car between me and Red. But then again, I don't think I will deserve a penalty for that, even if I get reported, because I was, I was behind him, and then there was Lean Sipper right behind me. I don't know if you guys caught that on stream or not. And then there was Motor right in front of me, while he was off to the side and while completely slowing down when I was obviously maintaining a proper gap. So I don't know what he was doing. But then yeah, Helium and Aradhya, they crashed into each other. They went spinning, and Moto was like, "Come on, simply push," and that is exactly what I did.
That's a fantastic overview of the race and stuff. Deepak, any
Well, okay, I think I've just had a bit of an issue there, but yeah, I mean, that was that was quite a race that you guys had for sure. And like Simply said, there was a lot of chaos in that safety car restart, a lot of things happening. some people just crashing out, and definitely you guys have definitely made the best out of whatever happened there. So really congratulations on that. I mean, of course, yes, there may be a few penalties hanging around, but still, that does not take away from that great performance that was put on today. So yeah, really good. Congratulations on that podium results, and yeah, enjoy your night.
Thank you so much, Deepak.
And yeah, on that note, we have to wrap up the stream. And before we wrap it up, shout out to Axel for the super chat stream of €2. So yeah, thank you, man. That's really great. I mean, that's really good. And we are definitely missing you here in the commentary booth. So really would love to have you back here. And yeah, and on that note, we have to end the stream here. So that was round 4 from Tier 1. We definitely have a lot more races coming up in this F1 tier. We have a lot more events planned for the future. So if you want a piece of this action, do join our Discord server. The links are in the description. Like and subscribe to the channel and follow us on Instagram to keep more on the details. So yeah, definitely do join on Discord, and we will see you later. Good night and have a great weekend.